Good day, and I'd like to express my gratitude to the Agape Brethren for this wonderful time that I am able to share the Word of God. It's been a pleasure sharing God's goodness and what God has been doing in my life and pondering on the Word of God together. I was given the topic called Mounting Up with Wings as Eagles. Now, in Isaiah chapter 40, verses 28 to 31, it says here, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired and weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." The word of the Lord. The background of Isaiah chapter 40, I think, all the way to chapter 55, is about a special time together between the Israelites and the Lord, I suppose. They were like lovers who were on a date, fresh from a long-distance love affair, LDR. Because the other party was cheating and unfaithful, that is the Israelites, and that's why they were exiled in Babylon. God allowed it that they be exiled for 70 long years as a punishment to them for their disobedience. But at the Lord's appointed time, they were released, freed, and exonerated on the basis of Emperor Cyrus' decree. Now, within that 70 long years, they almost forgot their religion and God. And so, when they were pardoned, I believed it was not on the sentence they have served, but their exoneration was the discretion of the Lord. They were like given so much time and attention to be told about the characters of God, because as I've said, their faith was affected when they were exiled in Babylon. They were captives there. They were slaves. Now it is in this scenario that we can find that God will not tolerate the cheating of His own people against Him. I believe that the Israelites have gone farther from the will of God, that they had to be exiled for that long as a punishment to them. Now, likewise, we have been pardoned, set free from guilt and sin, and exonerated on the basis of God's love, mercy, and grace, as provided in John 3:16 and Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, and so many more. So what do we have to do then? First, savor our exoneration and make life anew. Huwag na natin pakawalan. Let's hold on to the faith that we have gotten from the Lord. Second, head on towards that direction of spiritual liberation. Starting when? Today. God has picked up our pieces. We were like broken vessels. And God picked up those broken pieces of us and put them together. Third, establish an altar for the Lord, whatever it takes, and regardless of the cost. As King David said, I will not offer something that costs me nothing. In 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 24. And then, mount up with wings like eagles. After having been freed, after having been exonerated, go, soar high. Huwag nang pakawalan. Sayang. How? Paano? Now, there are 3 steps. Number 1, take the stiffer reminder in verse 28. Number 2, take the sterner promise in verses 29 and 30. And number 3, take the longer challenge in verse 31. Now, I'd like to begin from number 1. Take the stiffer reminder in verse 28. It says, do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. How he will not grow tired and weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. You know, brethren, this is like saying, did you forget? Did you forget God? Did you forget that the Lord is our everlasting God? That he is the creator of the ends of the earth? That he will not grow tired and weary? And that his understanding no one can fathom. Meaning that the God you knew, served and disobeyed before, is unchangeably the same God until now after your exile. He loves, he cares about you even while you were in 70 years of exile and up until now. He is still that same God. And yes, he is still that just God that you knew back then. In Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8 says, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he never changed. Just in case you think he has changed already because you were punished, he is still the very same God that we know before. That is why it is at his pace, at his own pace, that we were pardoned for another chance to take on his goodness with you or with us to the world. Number 2, take the sterner promise in verses 29 to 30. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. Now, when the Israelites were in exile, when we were in exile before, we weakened our confidence. When we sin against God, bumaba ang ating confidence. But now that we are out of Babylon's slavery, he now gives us strength. Increase our power. The power here means could mean our will power, our vigor, our stamina, our physical strength, in order for us to do his will again. And letter C, even our youths grow tired, weary, and stumble and fall. But we will not anymore. We will not anymore. Because we are now stronger, the stronger version of the new us than before. And number 3, the last but not the least, take the stronger challenge in verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. My dear brethren, as a free people of God, as Christians, we are to take it, yeah? The freedom from sin and exile upon ourselves, a stronger challenge to put our hope in God, and never again to allow ourselves to be entangled in any of the devil's snare. Because as this verse says, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Why? Because remember, as I've said, they, the Israelites, and we likewise, were just fresh from captivity for the longest time. The key word here is renew. Renew, strength to renew daily to be able to face even the monsters of time, the economic crisis, the COVID-19, even death. Safe is your place in the hands of the Lord now than when you were under the control of sin or under the terror of sin. And if you do, no matter how high you will soar, you are already able because the Lord has made you to be such. Because you are commanded to proclaim now the goodness of God to the ends of the earth. Proclaim God's greatness from people to people, from generation to generation, from place to place, which you were mandated to go or to do by God to do in Matthew chapter 28 verses 18 to 20, the Great Commission. In closing, Psalm 91 verses 1 and 2. It says here, whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. So, soar high on wings like eagles, with stiffer reminder, from verse 28, with the sterner promise in verses 29 and 30, and take the stronger challenge, verse 31. God bless us and have a nice day, everyone. Praise be to the Lord.